Hey, you ready? It's the toast with the most. All right.
What is that?
That's time to get the conversation started. Hello and welcome to LexiCon. It is Maddie along with
Lexi.
Dylan.
And today we're going to be doing one of our patented Lexi commentaries watching the 1988 film Beetlejuice.
Yes.
This movie is coming up on its 35th anniversary, having released on March 30th, 1988. And the main reason I wanted to watch it is because Alex and Dylan had never seen it before we started getting ready for this podcast. This particular episode, not the podcast in general. They didn't watch it 10 years ago.
That is fact.
But they're somewhat interested in the musical version of Beetlejuice. They've listened to the soundtrack at least, and so I thought they needed to see the actual movie. So we watched it, and now we're going to do it again and talk about it for your benefit. So either you're welcome or we apologize. One way or the other.
Yup.
We got an hour and 32 minutes of movie ahead of us. We're going to be watching it on HBO Max personally. If you're joining us on your DVD copy or your digital copy or maybe your old VHS copy, whatever works for us, of course, whatever works for you best. And as always, if you're not watching along with us, hopefully we'll make it entertaining enough so that you'll be satiated. But again, however you are watching, if you are watching, make sure you're all zeroed out so that when we all hit play together, we're all going into the movie proper. We'll give you a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and we'll all play on play, and we'll try to give you another time cue early on in the movie. Sound good to everyone?
Yep.
Yes.
And by everyone, I mean the two of you, because nobody else can respond to me at this moment. So without any further ado, here is 1988's Beetlejuice in 3, 2, 1, play.
It's a circle!
And the legendary Harry Belafonte's Deo begins things as we see the Geffen Films logo. Or Geffen Company, perhaps. David Geffen, now part of DreamWorks, SKG, which I believe is Spielberg, Katz, and Geffen.
I have
Yo,
questions.
DreamWorks?
Yeah, DreamWorks. The Geffen Company presents dramatic music.
Imagine a
Tim
DreamWorks
Burton
animated
film.
Beetlejuice.
That would be something.
Beetlejuice.
I feel like you could do a lot more with an animated Beetlejuice.
But on that note, I think the 80s and early 90s cartoon show of Beetlejuice, where it was basically just Beetlejuice and Lydia running around having adventures, was a lot better than the movie. At least when I was a kid.
Have not seen it.
Because again, that's kind of what I thought the movie was going to be based on all the advertisement and the title and everything. Oh, this movie about this wacky undead character, and it's like, he's kind of just a side player.
15 minutes.
Having rewatched the movie, I appreciate it a lot more. It's a fine movie for what it is.
Yeah.
Knowing what to expect going in, but as a child, I was disappointed in it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's 17 minutes he's in the movie.
As we see this, what was probably a helicopter shot at the time would be a drone shot nowadays.
Nah, it's just some guy. He's in creative mode.
Over what I feel like is a fairly typical Tim Burton style opening. I feel like this would fit in with Edward Scissorhands, certainly. Also very Stephen King-ish, because we're in New England, Connecticut in this case, and a lot of Stephen King's works are set in Maine.
Like 90%.
See, a Wise Potato Chips van, little product placement there.
Wow, I have no idea what
Of course,
Wise is.
Danny Elfman did the music. If it's a Tim Burton film, Danny Elfman's doing the music. Which, I mean, to be fair, they're a winning combo. You know, they set the tone for each other. Elfman's music works really well with Burton's visuals.
Nice.
I saw a boat.
A boat or a bow?
A boat.
I see. Is that a beetle?
A Beetlejuice?
No, I'm pretty sure that was like an old broken down VW Beetle. I have a feeling that was intentional. I can't imagine it wasn't, to be honest with you. Of course, this is spelled Beetlejuice.
Yes.
But of course, it's the same name as the star in Orion, which is, I'm not going to try to spell it, it's Beetleguise, I think.
Something like that.
And you even see Beetlejuice's name spelled that way at one point in the movie, and the lead character says Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
But, you get a little more Harry Belafonte music here, and a cool spider.
Spider.
There's Alec Baldwin playing Bill Pullman. Not really, but I always think it's Bill Pullman in this movie instead of Alec Baldwin. I don't know why.
Lol.
Every time I think back, I'm like, yeah, that was Bill Pullman and Gina Davis. Like, no, it's Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, I wonder... It's like a lot of things seem to spell Beetlejuice's name like how the movie is spelled. And that's technically not his name in the movie.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it is or not.
Well, most
we see the
things-
advertisement with his name spelled like the way the star is spelled, but we don't really know how his name
And
is
on
spelled.
the little, like, coffin thing he's in or whatever.
Fair enough. And there's Gina Davis. She was a pretty hot actress in the 80s. And early 90s.
As in, like, popular or...
Yes. Both. I think a lot of people had a crush on Gina Davis back then.
Where'd he get that from? Did it pull that from the ceiling?
Yup. That's probably a shelf or
He
something.
pulled it from an interdimensional warp. There's a way deeper subtext going on.
Is it like a magic trick to like,
Realizes.
it's not there, now it is.
This is the Harry Potter prequel. How do we like the shirt?
Yeah.
How about the red underneath it? That's a bit of a surprise. That's the splash of color under,
Yeah.
under the black and white plaid shirt.
Yeah.
I think I was making a point earlier and I sort of lost the
I
thread.
have no
I have
idea.
no idea.
I was going to say about the Beetlejuice name. I imagine, and I've never researched this anywhere, but I imagine that they went with the spelling they did because it's just easier to pronounce.
Yeah.
Lots of folks are not necessarily going to know how the star's name is pronounced just seeing it, so they're like, no, it's just simple. To be fair, I think they should have called the movie something more like Rules for the Recently Deceased, since it's not exactly about Beetlejuice. But
Even just based off, what's the book?
the book is the handbook for the
Yeah,
Recently
I think
Deceased.
that'd be good too.
I just think calling it the handbook is a little odd because we're not
Yeah.
examining the book the whole time, so I thought Rules would play a
And
little
also
better.
because it's a movie.
But, I don't know what I was going to say.
I don't know, I was going to say I pulled up some Google stuff. And according to this, the character's name is spelled Betelgeuse.
Yeah, is that how the star is actually spelled?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so.
I told you I wasn't sure how to spell it off the top of my head.
Yeah, but they decided to go Beetlejuice for the title because it's funnier and markets better.
Yeah.
And originally, they were concerned that they wouldn't be able to easily market a movie with his name spelled that way.
I suppose you could draw comparisons to Melville's similar work, Moby Dick, of course, where the whale doesn't show up until the end, but they're talked about throughout the whole thing. And I mean, Beetlejuice is somewhat of a major player throughout the thing, at least once they realize they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not the one that really drives the plot.
That's my thing, too. As a kid, you saw these advertisements, and you saw Michael Keaton hamming it up as Beetlejuice, and that was the focus of all the advertisements, and it's the name of the movie. So you think, oh, there's just going to be wacky adventures with this undead guy. And no. But like I said, but that's what the cartoon was, pretty much. It was Beetlejuice and Lydia running around through the world of the undead, and, like, yeah, the cartoon's nothing like the movies. It's like two different
People were so
things.
disappointed in the movie that they decided to make the
We're coining new words here. First it was disagree, now it's disappointed.
they made the animated series to make up for it.
Even the musical focuses much more on Beetlejuice and Lydia.
I don't think... But the musical is much closer to the movie.
Yeah.
But even
I was
In tone and
telling
overall plot.
I was telling God the other day, I think the musical tried to find a nice kind of middle ground almost.
But-
like they knew that they wanted more Beetlejuice and they tried to do more Beetlejuice, you know.
But
They tried to stay true to the movie as well.
One thing I do want to point out real quick is I don't necessarily think people were that disappointed. I think this movie was a pretty big hit. And in fact, this was the first movie I noticed as a kid really having staying power in the movie theater. Like, my school bus passed by one of the local movie theaters on the way to school. And so I'd see what was out on the marquee. And I remember this being there for, at least a month. And I mean, a month run in the movie theater is not necessarily that long. It is for some movies, not for others. But being the feature movie out there on the front of the marquee, that was a pretty good long. And it could have been longer or shorter, but it was the first one I remember seeing being up on the marquee for a long while. And I'm like, okay, clearly that movie's a hit. Unlike Labyrinth, which was on the movie marquee one day I went to school, gone the next day. I never realized that they actually own the hardware store.
yeah, I
Or the
just
general
realized
store.
that.
I did when we watched it the other day getting ready for this, but ahead of time I thought they just went to the store to pick up, like they went to the store to buy something. I didn't realize they were
Same.
going to their own store.
Yeah, I just realized that now.
Because obviously I remember the plot fairly well, but yes, right there, Maitland Hardware. And that's
Should
their
be the
last
ball
name.
push up.
Little fire truck in the background.
I like that we saw the little dog when they came into town.
But
That's called foreshadowing.
Yes,
this,
I know.
This movie is not subtle
Yes.
with it.
But technically, I haven't seen the musical. I've only read a synopsis. But literally, like the first things you see in the musical are Lydia, then Beetlejuice,
Yeah. Something like that.
which definitely tells you that what they're more focused on in the musical.
Now we're going to see the Maitland's death.
That
And I
dog
have
is
some
not
questions. I was going to say, that dog is not going to be a counterweight for them. Him moving is not going to cause them to fall.
No.
There's no way. Clearly, they didn't learn the lesson that my dad taught me, that if you're going to fall into a body of water in your car, get your window rolled down. Of course, Mythbusters also showed that if you can hold out long enough until the car's completely underwater and the pressure is equalized on both sides, then you can get your door open too. But of course, it's always possible they were knocked unconscious in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the most likely because you think they
Still, what lit the
realized
fire
behind.
exactly?
I don't know.
Ah,
Did their relative / real estate agent have it lit for like an open house or something?
I don't know.
Because we didn't see anybody actually light it, and I don't think this is a ghostly thing, because ghosts don't necessarily need the fire.
Yeah.
And why would they be wet if they're dead, too? Or be able to catch on fire? Lots of things about the I guess not the undead, but lots of things about the deceased in this movie that are never really explained.
Yeah.
They actually seem to be quite powerful.
Yeah.
Wait a second, if they're dead, did they walk back to the house? Or drive back to the house?
I don't know, because later on they
can't leave the house.
Later on they say we haven't left the house since the funeral, too. Like, they had some knowledge of the funeral, but clearly they don't.
Yeah.
So, again, that's one of those things that's just not made clear. Just like the fact that why did they end up in Saturn?
Maybe you can go back to your house,
and
but
why does
once you
Tim
leave,
Burton
there's
think
like
this
a
is what the
magic
surface
thing?
of Saturn looks like?
I don't know. Maybe it's like you can go back to your house, but once you're at your house, leaving takes you to a portal or something to Saturn.
And it's never really explained. They're told they have to stay in their house for like 125 years, and that's never explained why. And also, since when do ghosts not have a reflection? I thought that was vampires.
Well, I don't
all
think ghosts are
vampires.
very...
That explains it.
I don't think ghosts are very visible in general.
I feel like they'd be visible to themselves. I mean, they can see their hands when they hold it up.
I mean, yeah.
Handbook for the recently deceased.
But I assume
Did
they
you
can
say recently diseased?
No!
The handbook for the recently diseased. Oh yeah, well that is what Bill Pullman read it as. I know it's Alec Baldwin. I don't know why that hairdo. I'm used to Alec Baldwin with black hair for one thing, and I'm not used to him with glasses. I just always think this is Bill Pullman was the lead character in Spaceballs. I think is what y'all know him from best.
But I think the ghosts can more magically be seen.
He was also Gina Davis' husband in A League of Their Own, which is another fairly big hit of the, I guess, early 90s.
Nice.
Maybe late 80s.
Because they aren't reflecting any light.
They must be reflecting light if they can see each other. How are they seeing each other?
Magically.
There you go.
But the mirrors are magic, so I can't. So they aren't like emitting
But
light.
Lydia can see them.
Magically.
So she's a witch?
Yes.
Probably.
I mean, she'd probably be down with that.
And then everyone can see Beetlejuice. Because Beetlejuice.
But they can all see the Deetses at the point they can see Beetlejuice. Speaking of the titular character, here's our first...
Yep.
Not exactly appearance. I think you see his hand, maybe. Okay, you see most of him. You hear his voice more than anything. You don't see his face.
Sandwoman.
Who prints the Afterlife newspaper exactly?
Honestly,
Is there only one, or are there like multiple newspapers? Because this is the 80s. Newspapers were still big back then.
Yeah, probably more.
I like to think
there are many multiples of newspapers.
Made himself. He's a man of pair.
Where does he get all the information?
He's freaking Beetlejuice.
He has people.
That was very quiet. He has people.
I'm sorry.
Made a little. So where did he get all the pieces? Did he make them,
Perhaps. I mean,
they need to have pieces, just in case we die.
Oh, for the funeral, yeah. I don't. But I thought you meant the models in general.
Yeah.
Like I said, they could have been pre-made models that he just painted, and maybe he built some of the buildings.
Funeral pieces could have just showed up, like the book.
And the fire.
Yeah.
The fire is confusing, but the book, that's in the house all dead. I
wonder about the presumption that there wouldn't be dust on anything in heaven. I mean, is there like a bunch of like maids in heaven just dusting everything off?
Oh, I think she's just saying that because she hates dust.
It was just a joke, Dylan. It's comedy, man.
I apologize.
What's with those outfits? Not. I get they're mourning. They're in black because their friends, relatives died. Just.
Other than that, I don't know.
Sort of an odd getup. Very Puritan. She speaks to them as family, but I don't think it's ever said whether or not Jane is an actual relative of theirs or just a close friend.
Yeah.
I want that to be like a full book released. I want to know about the undead in this world. It's so interesting to me.
They seem to make it intentionally obtuse anytime anybody reads from it. The newspaper box on the mailbox. Don't see many of those anymore.
No.
Cows.
To be fair, where we live, we don't see a whole lot of mailboxes like that anymore either. Depending on exactly where we are.
It depends on where you... There's plenty of mailboxes. Oh, she's floating. Didn't remember that.
I've noticed that yesterday. Whenever
And
we
now
watch
she's
this.
not.
I like how they still go up on the blankets and sleep. It's like, you're freaking ghosts. I don't think you need to.
Apparently ghosts need sleep in this world.
Oh, they just want to sleep.
Well, I mean,
They
if you
are
want to.
adjusting to being dead.
Well, they're not Twilight vampires if they're sleeping, because the Twilight vampires don't sleep. Catherine O'Hara.
So how long
As
has it
stepmom.
been since they died?
I don't know if they ever say for sure.
I feel like it had to be quite a while. I don't think the house was bought in like a day.
Well, no, that's not true, because their real estate agent, friend, relative, whoever Jane is, seemed to be pushing them to sell it and was sort of fielding offers anyway, so I don't think it's crazy that it was snapped up fairly fast. I mean, in real life, I don't know how long it would take for it to go through probate and to, pass into somebody else's ownership. I don't know how it was set up, or it would work different in different states as well. There's all that to consider. But, I mean, within the world of the movie, I think it could have happened fairly fast.
Yeah.
And
Because
there's
isn't it
Winona
set
Ryder.
up to seem like these are the people considering buying it?
I think I just said Winona Ryder.
Pretty sure you did.
Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder, another big actress of the 80s and 90s. Of course, Heathers you would recognize her from.
Yeah.
Also her mugshot from getting caught shoplifting. Although I think that was later in the 90s. Oh, spider.
Yep.
I missed that spider. Not the same spider that was on the building earlier, obviously, because it's much smaller.
Can't double check myself, but she is also in Stranger Things. That is also.
Oh,
what I
yeah,
recognize her from.
she's the mom.
Yeah.
Neat.
I was trying to think of more of her 80s heyday. I think she was in the adaptation of Little Women.
Yeah, she was.
And I apologize, I cannot think of the actor's name playing Charles Dietz, but he was in like every other movie in the 80s. he's Principal Mooney in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He's in Howard the Duck, which I'll still need to see, because that's just a batshit crazy movie.
I think the music... sorry, continue.
Otho there, her designer friend, that actor's was in a ton of movies too. He's in Demolition Man, which we're gonna watch later this year for its
This movie
30th anniversary.
seems to have gotten a lot of important names involved.
Well, important. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, most of these actors, did work a lot in the 80s and 90s, and are still working to a large degree today. But yeah, of course, Gina Davis in A League of Their Own, Thelma and Louise, etc. Et al. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think people are done talking. Then it's like, oh wait, no.
Anyway.
But I feel like the musical...
And of course, Alec Baldwin's been... I'm just messing with you now.
I feel like the musical follows the same general storyline, but a lot of the minor things are changed.
Yeah, probably a good bit.
But like I said, the musical is much more faithful to the original story than the cartoon was.
Yeah. Like another thing, Beetlejuice is a hero in the dead. They die and then they just wake up. And
We've got
Beetlejuice is
some open spots in the podcast. Maybe we should watch a couple episodes of the cartoon later on.
Alright.
Maybe.
Like I said, I really liked the cartoon when I was a kid. The movie was like, man, I had some Beetlejuice action figures as well,
Interesting.
including one where you stuck a bunch of swords through Beetlejuice.
Interesting.
They had like just a bunch of holes built in. You just stick the swords through them.
Yeah.
And of course the musical also focuses on Lydia's dead mom a lot more.
Honestly, I would probably rate the cartoon number one. Oh, there's a nice little gory scene. Cartoon number one. Movie number two, figures number three, I guess. But they're both way lower than the cartoon.
How she knows how to tear her face off? Has she been practicing?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The powers of I keep wanting to say the undead, but the powers of the dead are very mysterious and seemingly limitless in the show.
Hey Adam,
Although not completely, because Beetlejuice needs people to call his name to come out, but then once he's out, he can do a lot.
Well, it's like Beetlejuice is a special case.
I suppose. But I mean, they
He's
seem...
like sealed or
The
something.
Dietzes are limited to a degree, too. They can't leave their house. They need to, follow certain rules. It's complicated.
Maybe there's different types of ghosts.
That was a good beat there, though, when they set up they should be scared of this, but they're not, and all of a sudden the husband pops out to scare them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nicely done. How do you like Otho's bolo-style tie?
It's a choice.
It is that.
I don't like Otho.
Red buttons, red and black. We've seen that. And she's got really bright red lipstick with the black dress.
Mm-hmm.
And Alec Baldwin had the red shirt under the black. And I'm sensing a theme here. Not sure what it is.
Those are the
not
two
sure
colors
the
Lydia
cause for
wears.
it, but Lydia wears red in this.
Yeah, the wedding dress.
Well, I don't think that was her choice.
Well, no, I'm just saying that those other two colors.
To be fair, as I recall the
appears
cartoon Liddy, I think her outfit was red and black.
Nice.
No idea, never seen it.
How do you feel about the effects there? I mean,
effects are questionable in this entire movie.
okay, I question. This is 1988. I don't think they were bad for 1988.
No problem.
Obviously, everything's not going to hold up
Yeah.
35 years later.
I fact that body wanting.
I just feel like
effects.
I feel like it's just fun to look back and see the rough edges now.
Yeah.
But you should appreciate it. I don't think at the time these were bad at all. And you could go back and find some movies from the era where like, oh, those effects were awful. These effects were fine for the time.
Yeah. For the time, fine. Now, it's like, yes, watching this as an 80s movie, it's perfectly fine. Compared to something today, it's questionable.
I feel like the stop motion effects later on are kind of. But it's like.
That's funny, because when I think of a lot of Tim Burton films, I think of the stop motion.
Okay, man, the body didn't look great in that shot. The less you see the neck, the better it looks.
How did he see where to go without his head, though, is what I want to know.
I freaking know. Maybe he freaking made eyeballs on his nipples.
What?
He can probably
Eyeballs on
do
your
that.
nipples.
But he's wearing a shirt.
I think that might be the name of this episode.
You can see through the shirt. That's probably.
Probably.
Put your face right up to it. So yellow. Monkeys
Yes.
chattering? Why are the monkeys chattering?
Who knows?
I mean,
And
it's
how'd she
sad,
get
what do
so
you
far
expect?
away from the door?
Magic. We already explained that.
So does that mean when you die, you go to Hogwarts first or later on?
I find funny how the door just directly takes them from here, but the front door you have to walk down the steps as well.
The sandworm looks very
Yes.
aquatic with the fin.
Yes.
It looks very Jokerish
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, like those effects aren't great. About equal to Sharkboy and Lava
Yeah, they're not horrible by any means. though.
With Sharkboy and Lava was like years later.
Yeah.
Many years later.
Like, almost 20 years later?
Something like that. And it has the same effects.
That was a lower budget movie.
You know, I think I called him Principal Mooney. It's Principal Rooney.
Okay.
From Ferris Bueller, but again, like I say, he showed up in just about everything in the 80s. He's just one of those actors. Like, there's some actors you'd see have like a cameo in every TV show. He was like a player in every other movie in the 80s. Like,
Would Lupin have been
the
Principal
My Girl
Mooney?
movie, that the actor who played Dan Aykroyd's brother in it, be the My Girl in question's uncle. He also played Stan in the TV version of It. He's another actor who's like in everything from the 80s.
Nice.
And I apologize, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head.
I feel like that's an inconvenient outfit to eat food in. With the big old veil.
Lydia's outfit, yeah. Probably.
So you gotta go under the veil or like lift up the veil every time you want to take a
Sure
bite.
there's not a slit in the front of the veil? Yeah, I guess so.
There's also some odd earrings. They look like they'd be heavy.
Who says they're not?
Did some air training, some air muscle training.
Is there like a porthole in the house?
I guess.
I thought it was a picture.
I'm pretty sure it was a window.
Same.
I thought they're like in a picture.
No, that's the power we don't see from the dead in this.
I mean, I definitely think they could.
I'm not saying they couldn't, we just don't know that they can. It's interesting that they don't change clothes.
I mean, it's like at first I thought it was a window, but then I was like, oh wait, maybe it's
but
like
the
a little
shirt,
painting.
he's got one more button down on the shirt. So he's getting more casual.
That's an interesting look.
Wood. It's a pile of wood back there.
Uh-huh.
And here we go, here's a little bit more of that unsubtle foreshadowing coming up.
Yeah.
And there's the Beetlejuice flyer.
How'd they get the flyer?
It fell out of the book.
Why was that in the book?
I guess Beetlejuice slipped it there.
Probably.
How?
Magic?
He's Beetlejuice.
He almost said the name 3 times. Although I'm not sure if he was pronouncing it correctly. This might have been the scene where he says Beetlegeist.
Possibly.
So I'm not sure that would count.
I like how you take turns
I like
questioning
that
and then
dress.
answering with magic.
I want that.
Hey,
dress.
man, I'm just doing it a bit. Look at those mutton chops. That's a choice.
I want the dresser that they had.
Oh, how you like the tea kettle?
It's a tea kettle.
Yeah.
Settle your tea kettle.
I don't like tea.
Tea's fine. His dog comes busting through the window.
Yeah.
That could have killed him.
Just a casual morning.
Right here pins her.
Yep.
Again, foreshadowing of the climactic scene.
Lots of foreshadowing in this movie.
Yeah.
That is an interesting look.
Yeah.
The house. What they're doing. I
Hello.
didn't notice the yellow beam protruding through the hole there.
I have no idea.
It's a little rainbow sticker on the side of that truck.
A rainbow sticker.
Neat.
I did not notice.
Decal, painting, what have you.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to think of Winona Ryder as a little girl at this time. She doesn't... I don't know how old she was, but it was common back then in TVs and movies for older actors and actresses to play younger.
Yeah.
So she could very easily be in her 20s, but she just didn't feel like a young girl to me in this. She feels like she's about 20.
Really?
Yeah, she plays younger to you?
She comes off as a teenager to me.
Yeah.
She never felt like a teenager to me in this.
I was gonna see, let's see. She was born in 1971.
So she's 8 years older than me, and
Yeah.
I was 8 when this actually came out. So yeah, so she used to be 16. Which would have been maybe even younger than that when they actually shot it, because it used to take time for movies to... It felt like it took longer for movies to be produced back then.
Yeah.
I also felt like it took longer for them to come out on home video and cable, to where you see a movie in the theater. Because like I say, this was in theaters in March and into the spring.
And that's the first time you see Beetlejuice's face.
Yeah, in '88, and I didn't see it in theaters. I mean, we did see a lot of movies back then. So by the time I saw it, it could have been that fall or maybe even the next year, depending on how long it took to come out.
According to IMDb, which doesn't entirely make sense, it says Lydia's age is never stated, but it's possible the character is supposed to be about 13 to 16, and that Winona Ryder was 17 when the movie was filmed.
Okay, that doesn't quite make sense to me. Not if she was born in '71.
Yeah, I'm trying to redo the math.
Because she would have turned 17 in '88.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, this came out in March. There's no way they shot this movie at the beginning of '88, especially with all the effects. This is '87 at least, so there's no way she's 17. If the birth date is also correct.
Yeah. The birthday information came from Wikipedia.
She's having a hard time unlocking that door.
Yeah.
Well, they are holding it.
Will that stop her from unlocking it?
It would stop her from opening the door.
Well, she's not. It doesn't look like she's trying to open it. Well, not. Like, I don't know.
Well, maybe she expects the door to open when she gets it unlocked.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I almost bent doubloons just now.
In case of emergency, draw a door. Good thing you had chalk up here.
Yep, that's definitely how that works.
And then there's a brick wall right there.
I swear there's something else we've seen where they have to draw a door for something.
Maybe, but it also gives me Diagon Alley vibes. I can't lie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when we watched this.
I realized wizards and witches aren't drawing doors with their wands, but close enough.
They have to tap on the books and everything.
I'm pretty sure it was just a light fixture or something, but it looked like there was a small noose hanging in the background. That just makes me uncomfortable. See? I'm not even sure what it
It's
is.
the noose she used earlier.
I mean, what would be the darkest thing in this movie?
She's literally hanging by a noose earlier in the movie.
Yeah, I know. It's not a noose, though, nor is it a light fixture. It's clearly some other sort of...
It's like this movie is dark, but it doesn't feel that dark.
No, it doesn't.
It definitely doesn't
I
feel
feel
that
like
dark
Tim
for an
Burton
80s
went
movie.
dark,
Or a
though.
Tim Burton movie. It feels pretty standard for each.
Yeah.
I feel like...
And even a lot of the darkness feels like over-the-top, jokey darkness as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie was relatively...
Although there are a lot of references to suicide, which would play a lot darker nowadays than I think it did back then.
Probably.
I probably just bumped the mic stand too, so if it's
Into the light.
Oopsie.
This movie was lighter than I expected it to be.
Wait, when we finished watching this, oh my god, there's 2 of those yellow beams.
see.
What are they going for
Maybe
there?
this is
know.
temporary.
Anyway, you like the burb picture in the background?
Yes.
Bub.
Almost 3D. And there's like a burb statue, too. And another burb painting.
Yes.
Lots of birds.
Burbs are
And another burb painting.
He likes
Why there's so many birds?
because he likes some. I mean,
Oh,
see?
he does,
Oh.
clearly. Well, no, I don't know that that's his book. That might have been left over.
Maybe. Okay,
Who
the other
knows?
guy liked them.
Because he asked to leave that room the way it was.
Binoculars.
He's also
He may well like, and that bird's eating some carrion. Yay. Oh, I like the desk lamp. My dad had one of those by his bedside most of
Not
his life.
Pixar desk lamp.
I would
The
want
new
one of
Pixar
those
Beetlejuice.
old style desk banker soda lamps.
Okay,
that
is
are
that the
green.
Maitland's wedding photo up on the shelf that he just left up there? Or is that like a photo of he and his current wife, or he and Lydia's mom? Because it's just kind of weird if he kept the Maitland's picture up there.
I figured he just hadn't gotten around to taking it down.
I feel like that's one of the first things I would take down. Even if I was like, I like the paintings, I like the decor, I like the books. I don't need
So
a
this
deceased
is what
couple's
happened.
wedding picture.
No,
looks
we see
like-
the wedding clothes, and now you see the wedding picture.
So there's what Happy Marriage looks like.
He seems pretty happy with his wife. She's not a horrible person in this.
I find it odd how all the dead people in here look so much different.
Yeah.
Well,
They-
it's like the clerk says, death is a personal thing. That's what happens when they die.
Yeah.
That's what happens when this. Everybody's death is not the same and doesn't affect you the same way.
I just find it
Although
odd
you
they're
would think if
exactly
they
the same.
drowned that maybe they would be blue.
Yeah.
But no, they're exactly the same.
Because for lack of oxygen. Well, maybe they hit their heads. Maybe they weren't wearing their seatbelts. They hit their heads on the roofs of the car and, were killed instantly. Didn't have a chance to drown.
It's a lot of them seem to have exaggerated things of the death.
Uh-huh.
What's with her costume?
I figured that's what she was
I don't
wearing
know.
when she died.
For some
She
reason,
seems
she
to have,
kind of
like,
reminds me of
beauty
She was in
Undyne.
a
She's got a
pageant.
sash,
Yeah.
With the blue and the red
Miss
hair, it reminds me of
Argentina.
Undyne.
Yeah.
But it's
She's in the
it's the fiery adornment on her back, the cape, is what I find odd. I don't think you would normally wear that in view. Maybe.
It depends on the category.
I guess. And now for the cosplay category.
A lot of cosplaying in the underworld.
What's the point of having a screen if you just have that big cutout in the middle of
Who
it?
knows?
This is one of the most iconic scenes in the movie to me when they see all the different dead folk.
Uh-huh.
And like I say, it
That guy
is.
has a shock on his leg.
Yeah. What? Was
Couldn't
that
she
next pick?
use the key still?
Yeah, I don't know why she abandoned the key. Maybe she figured.
Oh no,
Maybe she didn't realize that somebody was behind her, behind the door, trying to stop it. So she figured, well, the key's broken or what have you.
Maybe.
Either that, or she gave it to her dad already. She's like, "Hey, here's the skeleton key that the real estate lady told me to give you." Many things are possible.
Yeah.
I like her hat.
I like that.
I feel like it's a
Yeah.
bit much. I don't feel like a goth person would really rock that hat.
I feel like they probably would.
Really, it's just like a
It's a little strange and unusual.
It's like a vacation hat painted black.
Yes.
It's like something you see like an old lady wearing out on the beach.
Well, it's
Maybe not
really
an
a
old lady,
vacation hat,
middle-aged woman.
but you're
wearing out on the
goth.
beach. But she's not on vacation.
She wants to think that she is.
I think she needs a handbook for the recently goth.
And a lot of these people are different colors, so it's like
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's like
you just want to whitewash the afterlife?
no. I don't mean unusual colors, like blue.
Blue Man Group's not allowed to die.
Exactly.
The shrunken head.
Do they choose to look like this? Because you can change your body in the afterlife.
I mean, to a degree, again, we don't exactly know the depths of everybody's powers. This is the speech I was talking about, though. This is what happens when they die. It's all very personal. And here we get our first suicide joke / reference.
Yeah.
So, did she slit her wrist during the beauty pageant, I guess? Or was she, like,
Maybe
upset
right
that she
after.
lost?
I don't know.
I don't think you'd be in... But that looks more like the swimsuit competition.
And that guy got
It doesn't
mad.
look like the evening gown.
I feel bad for that
Maybe
guy.
it is. I'm not sure if we ever see her stand up.
That guy can't walk. He just gets carried around
Well, at least
on
he's
a little
found
track.
purpose in the afterlife. Hey, for all we know, that's more than he had to do in real life. And what's with the skeletons? Now, that's just weird.
I don't know. Why are they skeletons but the other people have flesh and
Are those
skin?
the dead people who, like, died fully?
The dead people who died.
It's not the lost. It's not the ghosts who've been exorcised. We see the room with the lost souls later. So
The dead people who died fully.
Maybe those people rotted or something. I don't know.
Those are the really old dead people.
Yeah.
That's kind of a grim future. Oh, here we go. Somebody hanging by the neck. Our second suicide. I mean, I guess it wouldn't have to be suicide. Somebody could have hung you.
So I guess if...
So that's borderline.
So I guess if you get one over or hung, you go by those tracks. Ran over, not one.
You see, there's the lost souls, the ghosts that have been exorcised. Which is an interesting take. But again, it seems to just exist to give a little bit of weight to the climax there.
Yeah.
Like, there's no real purpose, and it doesn't really make sense. Like, why do these souls die again? But it just needs something to set up the predicament at the end.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And why are they just behind a simple pull-down shade?
He's like pulling back out. Like, wait, go back.
And why did their caseworker want to meet in their house? And why did they have to go through the hallway to get to their house?
And why take it so long?
Yeah.
Yeah, because doesn't Juno say she's been waiting there for a good while?
Yeah. Speaking of Juno,
I was waiting for this.
Juno is much more of a villain in the musical.
Yeah.
And also Beetlejuice's mom. She gets in by the Sandworm at the end.
Okay.
How are you not? Do you not know this? I thought you were all obsessed with the musical.
I don't know.
Because she didn't read the Wikipedia synopsis. Yeah, after you see Lydia marries Beetlejuice, then Beetlejuice becomes living, then Lydia stabs him.
You're alive. Now die again.
And then apparently Juno appears. Juno appeared a little earlier as well. And she's like, Beetlejuice, blah, blah, blah. And Beetlejuice is like, I lived for 2 seconds, and that was awesome. And then she kicks him out.
And then she's just his mentor, his former boss, or supervisor, what have you.
Yeah.
This is a look.
Yeah.
Choices were made.
You a fan of the pearls?
Yes.
I'm not really a big fan of pools.
That's a you problem.
I feel like they'd go well with the dress Gina Davis is wearing.
So how did Juno die?
Who knows?
Her throat is slit.
Oh.
Her throat
I didn't
is-
know.
Haven't noticed when she's smoking later on, you can see the smoke coming out of the hole in her.
I didn't notice.
Me neither.
I thought it was one of the cool little touches with the undead.
Ah.
I'm sorry, with the dead. They seem undead. You seem undead. You don't really feel dead.
I
You
guess
you
see
did?
it now.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh
Pretty
man,
obvious
I
there.
did not. I wasn't really looking at her neck.
Yeah, you watch in a minute when she's smoking her cigarette, the smoke will start coming out of the wound. Again, don't know if... that's borderline too. She could have slit her... I guess you don't slit your own throat as much as you might slit your wrists. I'm not trying to make light of suicide. I'm just trying to say there's a lot of references to it in here. And
Yeah.
Don't they make a
Slightly
reference or
opaque.
something like people who commit suicide work in like civil service or something in the afterlife?
maybe.
I think they say something like that.
I thought that was Otho making a joke, though.
Well, yeah,
I
but
don't know.
Yeah.
we do see a lot of people who commit suicide here. Other than the tire guy, and that's he ran himself over.
Or just, laid down on the road.
Yeah.
Feels like a rough way to go.
Which is, that's true. That means Beetlejuice will have also committed suicide.
Well, does that mean that's the only way you could work there?
Who knows? We don't know the specifics.
No,
No,
we
we
don't.
don't.
Just based off of what we know.
Yeah, and again, it's just a comment by someone who's never died that we know of. Because they don't even touch on reincarnation in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there you go. There's the smoke coming out of the...
And then she's
Yeah.
just gone.
That was more of her puffing away, but a shot earlier, you could really see it coming out.
Yeah, it doesn't really have specific rules for death.
Even though there's a whole handbook of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a handbook. They really aren't any
Honestly, of
rules.
all the scenes in the movie, this is one of the darkest to me when he, eats the fly.
Just somewhere in a box somewhere, there's a whole list of rules.
And even
there's
though-
the whole handbook went out.
Even though the fly is just regular size, it looks giant compared to Beetlejuice.
Doesn't he also
Oh,
eat
yeah.
something else there? Like a roach.
Maybe. But this is the one that always stuck out to me with the giant fly model there.
Why is he even under there?
It always turned me off from Zagnut candy bars, too. Anytime I never really heard of them before this, but then I'd seen them in the store. I remember the Fly scene, and I'm like, yeah, no thanks. Between this and the movie The Fly, 80s movies really turned me off and spooked me with the concept of flies.
Why is he even under there?
To trap the fly?
But then he's under there still later. But then he's in a coffin or something, so it's confusing.
Robert Goulet, a singer who sang the national anthem at WrestleMania 6 in 1990 in Toronto, also has some great basketball commercials for ESPN.
I feel like I'd be way more interested in this movie if it had like this whole rule set. I just want to know more.
Yeah, but I feel like it's one of those things where that's not really the point.
It's not the point, but it's like...
I do appreciate if you're going to create a world really... Well, I always say, like, if you're going to have some sort of fantasy world, you got to play by your rules, but it's up to you whether your rules are very vague or very explicit. And I feel like this leaves them fairly vague, so they're not really breaking their own rules. And like I said, I don't feel like the point of it was to create this fantasy world and outline everything explicitly. It was just, let's just have some fun and do whatever we feel like.
Yeah. It makes me really interested.
Yeah, I understand. I'm saying I understand why they didn't go in that direction.
Yeah.
Very white doorknob.
Yes.
It's interesting that he can see the sheet, but not the person under it, which would make sense, but I feel like if you could not see the person under it, it would seem more ethereal and more floaty. It wouldn't feel like there was something solid in there. Plus, I don't know, they look taller than Lydia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was Alec Baldwin or Bill Pullman, but...
But I guess he doesn't expect it to be anyone else.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't know what's going on the TV there. I think it's a wrestling match.
Looks like wrestling.
But it's not any wrestlers that I recognized, and it almost looked more like some sort of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or something at first, which wouldn't have really been on TV at the time.
It's probably just random.
Lydia's room looks awfully small.
Yeah.
Probably just random wrestling
I didn't
footage.
until now.
She's got room for one sad little doll in the corner. Got a plant, a dresser, and a bed.
She just got out of bed and the wall's right there.
She thinks her dad and her stepmom are fucking on the other side of the wall.
From ghost sounds.
Her mom's clearly on drugs right now, right? I mean, you wake up, and she just like a zombie sits up to turn the TV off or whatever. This is the 80s. She's clearly on some kind of drugs.
Was this really the best idea?
Yes.
Just put on sheets and go...
Nobody said they were that creative. Look at the way they dress.
Wow.
My gosh. It's like, alright, we gotta scare these people out of our house. How do you do it? Put on sheets.
She still thinks it's her...
Bitch, yeah.
Yeah. No, your mother and I have never done that. We've never dressed up and boned like ghosts. No feet.
Why'd they need the cut holes?
So they can see?
He freaking ran without a head earlier. I don't think...
But you theorized that he had eyeballs on his nipples.
But he was wearing his shirt.
I thought he said they cut out holes in the shirt.
Oh.
Well, maybe the thread count in the sheets is so much that you can't see through it.
No, I said you could see through the shirt.
Yeah, she said no.
Oh.
She clarified.
Oh.
I can't believe they never heard of Night of the Living Dead. I was not a horror fan, and I'd heard of Night of the Living Dead.
Well, they do seem to be the most boring people on the planet.
Okay, now that's not fair.
I'm joking, they're not that boring. But they are definitely much more boring than the end Beetlejuice.
Well, they're more boring in life than they are in death.
She clearly cut those bangs herself, right?
Most likely.
That's not a professional cut.
It's like, I can see...
I mean, unless she specifically asked for that.
I want it to look like I cut it myself. Okay? Now, I want it professionally done, but make it look like I did it myself.
Exactly.
I can see why everything...
Yeah,
future Beetlejuice.
Yeah, she said her stepmom's on Valium, so I knew she was on something.
But I can see why future Beetlejuice media more focuses on Beetlejuice and Lydia, because they really are the most interesting ones in this.
But the interesting thing is, clearly that wasn't the intent.
Yeah.
When the movie was made. That's not what the story was about. He's clearly just a side player.
Yeah.
Even she is, for the most part. It's really the Dietz's story. Not the Dietz's, the Maitlands.
Yeah.
See, they haven't left the house since the funeral, so they reference the funeral. They know nothing about it. They're seeing it in miniature.
Maybe the funerals are like just outside, and they're like, "Wow, look at the funeral!"
The funeral is.
They just sat on the porch.
It's when they officially became ghosts
left the house
showed up
funeral.
at the
They
house.
just sat on the porch.
But that's not really leaving the house.
Maybe a funeral had
Technically.
to happen for them to officially be in the afterlife and whatnot.
And they found that out how? By reading the book they don't understand?
Probably. And so that's when they showed up back at the house.
It's like, I mean, you don't know you're awake. Like, them doing a trick's gonna make it not be a dream.
Just slap her in the face.
I mean, I guess.
Those who didn't understand.
That actually would have been funny. Can you do a trick? Smack. Fuck, I guess I'm not dreaming. That hurt. Fucking rude ghosts. Damn, it's not my fault you're dead. Take shit out on me. It wasn't my idea to come here. I don't want to be here. Is that a very large artichoke on the counter?
Maybe.
I have no idea.
It looks like the thing I keep calling an artichoke and toka.
I see knives in the background.
Yes.
The knives.
That is fine.
They are not used in this movie.
Pointing down.
Why?
I don't know. I just always see them the other way.
No, maybe. I don't think so.
Okay, then I've been playing too much Toka because they spawn in the other way.
Oh, yeah, well, we all need to live our lives by the rules of Toka.
I want to know more
based
about
on life.
Adam's photo of Bigfoot.
I swear that's what I see
What?
on YouTube.
I want to know more about Adam's photo of Bigfoot.
There's a reference to a Bigfoot photo?
Yeah, he said she has photos, and Bob was like, "You had a photo of Bigfoot," and he's like, "My photos of Bigfoot is a different story." It's like, I want to know more.
Yeah.
What about his photos of Bigfoot?
That's the spin-off you needed.
You want the prequel that just tells you the life story of the Maitlands until now.
No, I just want to know about his photo of Bigfoot.
He just needs a 6-episode special.
Is it actually Bigfoot? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Bigfoot was real in this.
Who knows?
And
Is Bigfoot just one of the other dead people?
Bigfoot's just, I was going to say, he's just a tall guy that was very hairy and died.
God.
Beetlejuice?
It's pretty sick. looking tombstone.
Beetlejuice. I like how the sign says Beetlejuice once, always accompanied by another Beetlejuice somewhere else.
What?
The sign says Beetlejuice twice, accompanied by another Beetlejuice somewhere else. Like in the commercial, there's 2 Beetlejuices on the sign, then at the bottom of the screen. And it's the 2 Beetlejuices on the sign, then the one on the grave. I'm not sure if that's intentional, that adds up to 3.
This is a good
Like
point.
that.
Like, he was able to stick his hand out and hang the candy bar out.
Uh-huh.
He's able to somehow magically make the shovels fall over, but they still have to dig him out.
Yes.
And why
And they probably
why
don't
would
have
he be
to.
there?
Why is the glass so fake?
Because it's a model.
Yeah.
They're in his
This
model.
isn't real.
Oh.
Why is the glass so fake? 'Cause
Yes,
it's
why
not
did he
real.
make his glass so fake?
Because the model?
What was he gonna? Was he gonna go like grow real grass for his model?
Yes.
I think Beetlejuice.
I don't know, it just seems very
interesting.
interesting the way it's
I think
made.
Michael Keaton was having fun when he made this movie. This is, I guess, the first thing I ever really saw Michael Keaton in, since this is the year before Batman. Although, to be fair, like I say, with the lag time between theatrical release and home video release at the time, I may have seen Batman first, because I did see Batman in theaters in June of '89. And I mean, he'd been in things before. He was in Mr. Mom, which I think I saw as a kid, but I just didn't specifically remember him being in it. So I'm guessing this is my first Keaton experience. But I think he's having a ball playing Beetlejuice here.
Yeah.
What does this cap say? Can anybody read it?
No.
Guide.
Ah, okay.
I'll be a guide to the others.
Musical.
I just want to listen to the musical again
Yeah.
now.
Musical's good. I still
is
want to
good.
see it.
I think it's a more interesting story than this. Slightly more interesting, at least. It features more Beetlejuice. Once again, haven't actually seen it.
Yeah.
Just heard it. And even the recording of it is missing like 3 songs. Like, don't know Beetlejuice says he's gonna kill everyone.
Nice.
Yeah, that happens right before he marries Lydia, then gets stabbed.
I like what I've heard of the musical, I like more of the stuff between him and Lydia in it than this.
Yeah, what I've heard of the musical is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should do like a
Alright, obviously he's bullshit
video
because he claims that he went to Juilliard and graduated Harvard Business School, but also lived through the Black Plague. So unless this is the admittance that there's reincarnation in this world, he's just bullshit.
Now, I do believe he's seen The Exorcist 167 times.
I mean, can you see movies in the afterlife?
Yes.
Why not?
If not, I don't believe it.
You can read a book.
See a little jerk-off motion from him there. I don't think I would have picked up on that as a kid. Not at 8, anyway.
And I do believe it gets funnier for him every
I
time.
always wondered exactly what his face looked like there when he did the turnaround and things just flipped out. Did the face move? Did it just come out?
Oh God.
What?
This Beetlejuice changing into those clothes.
No, what are you talking about? He had this clothes on the entire time.
Uh-huh.
I think it would have been in... nah, never mind.
No, say it.
Nah.
No. You gotta do it now. You're on recording.
You don't see it at Saturn.
What?
You don't see at Saturn? I guess whatever. He's lived... How long has he been a ghost? I don't know.
Don't know that it's specified.
We don't really know how old he is.
I still wonder, was
Old
that what you
enough
were going
to
to
not
say
be at his
about
house.
Saturn, or does everybody have to stay at their house, or is it just them?
I don't know.
That's not clarified.
I mean, Beetlejuice obviously doesn't have to stay at his house.
Well, like she
Unless
said, maybe he's just been around long
yeah.
enough that he didn't have to.
I have no idea.
Though, to be fair, some people in the afterlife didn't have a house to have to stay at, so...
Once again, maybe there's different types of ghosts, like poltergeist, ghouls, Jaeger ghost,
Uh-huh.
whatever. Other synonyms for ghost.
Spirits.
Bunch of ghosts.
I think that's our one fucking in the movie. Because if there were 2, it'd be R-rated.
And then we don't see Beetlejuice again for a good while. I mean, see, like...
I'm not joking.
I love that
That's
film.
like at least the loose rule. You can say
Yeah.
fuck once in a PG-13 movie, but if you say it twice,
Yeah.
I find that odd.
it's an R rating.
I find that fucking odd.
I mean, what the fuck do I know about it? I've heard it. And there's one of the more iconic scenes in the movie coming up, the Deo scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in the musical.
They actually do the Harry Belafonte song in the musical.
I believe so, don't they?
I think so.
It's interesting as a kid, I just thought it was a silly sounding song. I never took the time to listen to what it was actually saying. It's about, like, workers on a banana farm or plantation, you know. The tally man is the one who counts up the bananas they've...
Yeah, 2 songs from the original movie are in the musical. Can you guess which 2? I think there's only 2 songs in the original movie.
I did notice that.
I'm gonna
there's
guess
not
it's
a lot
Deo
of
and Shake Sonora.
Good job.
Look, black and red, though.
Yeah.
That runs through the movie a lot. I never even noticed that before.
They really liked black and red.
I mean, yeah, it's a good combo.
Tim Burton.
I personally prefer black and blue.
Black
Lydia's
and red.
hair there is pretty much what her hair looks like in the cartoon.
Nice.
Once again, have not seen the cartoon.
No, I know. We've stressed that multiple times. I've literally said I need to show
Just
it to
so
you
everyone
guys.
knows, I have not seen the cartoon.
I did want to ask you, though, have you seen the Beetlejuice cartoon?
Let me think about that. You know, now that I think about it, I don't think I have.
You're kidding me.
I know, it's surprising.
Totally looks like apple juice in those cups.
Are you
I'm
saying
sure
it
it's
is
not,
not?
but-
That is an
I mean, it
upside.
may be, actually, for the production, but it's not what it's supposed to be.
No, they all do bit like apple juice. It's like, would everyone like some apple juice?
The legendary Dick Cavett playing Lydia's agent. And here we go. It's song time. I mean, what did everybody else at the table think was going on when this first started, exactly?
Who knows?
For some reason,
I mean, did they really think she could do that great an impression of Harry Belafonte and
Yep.
with those acoustics?
Yep. What is
I mean, I guess her husband's looking on the table to see if she's got a cassette player or something going, but...
yeah.
Oh, Coca-Cola can, more product placement.
Nice.
I'm not sure who the lady beside Otho is supposed to be. They clearly have some sort of relationship, but it's never stressed.
I do not know.
Right, it even stated at all. He's into it, but he's not, but he's into it.
Yeah, it's like, there's a nice scene, but I don't
Sexy hip swivel.
She's got that black glove. And it's making me think of how she had the black sleeve.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why?
Because.
I have questions.
Okay.
I think I have more questions about the art style of the animated series, though. I looked it up.
Yeah, it's definitely more
interesting.
stuff.
Yeah.
I just I loved it at the time.
It's fine. It's just interesting. The Lydia...
But again, to be fair, I haven't seen it in 30 years, so...
Zod.
We'll have to... I remember what it looks like.
I don't know if you remember all the little details.
Booty shake. I get the feeling the actors had a good time shooting this scene as well.
Yeah.
Probably.
I've had a lot of this movie.
It seems like they had fun. And there's the shrimp cocktail hands.
You feel like
That's
a lot of
something
this
always
movie, dude?
That was fun to film.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, Bill Pullman's excited there. It's like, I'm playing Alec Baldwin in a movie.
Fuck yeah!
I get to play Alec Baldwin playing this other character. Now they realize that plan did not work either.
Did the animated series even have Adam and Barbara?
I don't think so. I remember Lydia and Beetlejuice. That's it.
Wow. Maybe the animated series has more lore about the Netherworld. I need to know more. Why not? It's an animated series.
I mean, animated series can have lore.
But I'm sure it's not nearly as dark as this.
Probably not. It was probably intended for a slightly younger audience.
The cartoon, yeah, I'm sure.
I find odd that...
Because it was literally a Saturday morning cartoon.
I just find odd but it's like... This movie obviously isn't meant for kids. People... There's like a face being torn off in it. But then,
I mean, I saw it as a kid.
It's not intended for little kids.
I mean, to be fair, I saw everything as a kid.
It's like faces being torn off,
I didn't see X-rated movies, but
suicides
pretty much
references.
nothing else was off limits.
But then, yeah, let's turn it into a kid's
But then again,
version.
this is the 80s, so it kind of was
Yeah, that happens with multiple 80s things.
I mean, people weren't sensitive about things in the 80s. A lot more got through in movies in the 80s that people would find inappropriate for a younger audience today.
In the 80s, they'd be like, yo, you know this insanely R-rated movie? Yeah, let's turn it into a kid's cartoon. It's like, why?
Why not?
Yeah, I've got 10 behind-the-scenes facts about Beetlejuice from Screen Rant.
Neat.
I thought I'd share some of them if you'd like.
Alright.
So, let us see. Apparently, Sammy Davis Jr. was Tim Burton's first choice for the title role. That is very bizarre. I'm not sure how familiar with Sammy Davis Jr. you guys are, but...
I'm not.
I mean, he was a black actor and singer. He was part of the Rat Pack with Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and Joey Bishop. If you haven't seen Sammy perform, I can't do it justice, but it's a choice. I'm not saying it would be bad, but it would definitely be different. Apparently, the studio didn't like the idea of Sammy Davis Jr. They suggested Bill Murray, Jack Nicholson, who would, of course, go on to play the Joker for Tim Burton the following year. Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, Tim Curry, Christopher Lloyd, and Dudley Moore.
Nice.
I can understand all that. I don't know what made them settle on Michael Keaton, but they did, so.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice was originally a full-on horror film. The screenplay was originally written as a straight horror film.
That would not shock me.
And I assume that Burton, obviously he did help develop it, but apparently it wasn't his story originally.
Yeah.
Because it says that it didn't evolve into a comedy until Burton became attached and Michael Keaton signed on to star.
Interesting.
I kind of like Beetlejuice himself more in a comedy. At least this version of Beetlejuice.
Apparently in the original script, Beetlejuice just wanted to sexually assault Lydia instead of marrying her.
Oh, God.
Ah! That definitely would not
Thank you to whoever changed that.
Especially more today.
Supposedly
then either.
Supposedly the studio wanted to call it House Ghosts.
That's a terrible title. Like, oh my god, House Ghosts.
And supposedly Burton jokingly suggested Scared Sheetless. And apparently the studio actually liked that. Obviously they didn't end on that.
This studio, what the frick? What are these titles? Both those are atrocious.
It took
they
them a
liked
moment.
both of them?
It took them a moment.
Gosh.
They had decent ideas. They just needed the great one.
He didn't have these ideas for the title. Those are both horrible titles.
Catherine O'Hara, who plays Delia, who we're seeing on screen right now, she apparently met her husband on the film.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who's her husband?
His name is or was Bo Welch, who was a
Interesting.
production designer on the movie.
Wow.
Apparently Catherine O'Hara wasn't the first choice. Apparently Kirstie Alley, who was working on Cheers at the time, was the first choice, but she couldn't get out of her deal with Cheers.
Nice.
That definitely looks like a shot from a horror film. He actually looks very much like Kiefer Sutherland's character in Lost Boys right here.
I was about to say something about a Lost Boys character.
You know, one thing about
I
this
couldn't give you names, but I could give you that much.
Just for the record, since we talked about other people considered for Beetlejuice's role, after Kirstie Alley couldn't play Delia, Angelica Houston was signed, but she got sick. Then Sigourney Weaver, Linda Hamilton, Laura Dern, and Goldie Hawn were all considered. Sigourney Weaver is
Yes.
Ellen Ripley from
Yes.
Alien,
Yes.
and Linda Hamilton is
Never seen Alien.
Sarah Connor. I don't know if you know Laura Dern or Goldie Hawn.
So
from
imagine
Never
what
seen
this
Alien.
movie would be if they had gotten the original people they wanted for the cast.
I'm still thinking about Sammy Davis as Beetlejuice, which could be awesome. I'm not saying so, but it's definitely different.
I've heard for this, Beetlejuice Snake Thing here originally had more of a snake-like head. I've heard.
Interesting.
But then they decided to make it more of a Beetlejuice head.
Yeah, it's not bad looking. I like it. Oh god, that floor though. I don't know. That's too disorienting.
Lol.
The Beetlejuice snake definitely feels like kind of iconic, but the actual look of it is like, meh.
I think it's one of the less iconic images in the film, to be
Same.
honest with you.
I feel like it's fairly iconic just because Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
And Beetlejuice is like
I mean,
the
having
most
seen
iconic
the
part of
movie, don't get me wrong, it's one of those
film.
things that sticks with you from
Yeah.
the movie. But it's not amongst the most
Yeah.
iconic images from the film.
Alright, there's the rest of Beetlejuice's screen time for a decent bit. Actually, I think he has a little bit more in just a second.
Yeah.
Like I said, 17 minutes total. Not a lot.
Did you have any more facts, Maddie?
Yeah, I was getting back to it. The crashed miniature car there.
Yeah.
We talked about the effects earlier. According to this, with a slim VFX budget, Tim Burton doubled down on cheap B-movie style effects. A lot of the visual effects were done in-camera. The space scenes and the sandworms were the only visual effects achieved in post-production.
Interesting.
That's a lot of practical effects.
Yeah.
I'm surprised some of the stuff is...
In fact, this movie didn't need too many sets. Since it mainly takes place in the house.
Your point.
I'm just saying in general. It takes place in like one small area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
it says Tim Burton decided to double down on using tacky, cheap-looking B-movie style effects, but I don't feel like these effects looked that cheap back in 1988. I'm not saying they were cutting edge, but I don't think they were that... You see movies that are intentionally designed to look like real old, cheap special effects, like James Rolfe's movie, the AVGN movie.
Yeah.
Some of the effects are bad in it, but that's intentional. It's like an homage to the... And maybe because he only had so much of a budget as well, but it's done intentionally. And they're sort of suggesting that Beetlejuice is that same way. And I don't get that feeling from it. I never have, not watching it at the time, nor going back and watching it now. I understand some of the effects don't hold up compared to modern effects, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting they were, the cream of the crop for effects in the 80s either.
He went for the cheaper option. It just worked out well for him.
But it doesn't, and I'm not speaking on what was actually spent, but I mean, it doesn't look that cheap. I mean, it doesn't look like a movie that's intentionally shoddy looking when it comes to the effects.
Uh-huh.
Now, one odd thing, Adam and Barbara just didn't know they were dead and just went to the house and stuff. But these guys don't know they're dead, and they're in the netherworld.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're pretty stupid.
that's fact.
It's kind of a dumb jock joke.
But it's like, how could they be in the netherworld? Did they draw the door?
Who knows?
Or did they just end up here?
Maybe it depends on where they were.
Clearly death is different for everyone.
It seems there's not a lot of rules for the underworld.
So we talked about how it seemed like Michael Keaton was having a good time playing Beetlejuice. And according to this, and it does mention that he has only 17 minutes of screen time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he only spent 2 weeks shooting all of his scenes. But he's called it his favorite role ever.
Nice.
And apparently he improvised a lot of his dialogue. Some reports have the figure as high as 90% of his lines being ad-libbed.
Wow.
Yeah, here's
told
the
him to
costume
have
to
fun.
say things.
Here's the costume, here's the general idea. Here's what we need them to say.
Another pastoral landscape shot.
A lot of...
Wow.
This is just a very odd setting, too. Are they going to fill that in at some point, or is it intended to just be an open-air
It's
deck with
intended.
one wall?
Yes.
You're sure?
I don't know.
That's just your feel. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I feel like that's the odd design choice they went with. They feel like the people would make some odd design
And he
choices.
fell from the freaking second floor and just has a little bandit on his head. That's it.
Yep.
Apparently, Gina Davis, who plays Barbara, was the only cast member who was actually eager to sign up for the movie.
Yeah.
Because all of the other actors, and mentioned specifically Michael Keaton, who's Beetlejuice, Captain O'Hara, who's Delia, Winona Ryder, who's Lydia, and Sylvia Sidney, who I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's Jane or
I don't
No.
know.
not that many other roles in the film.
Yeah.
It could be Juno as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, apparently they all turned down the script originally, and Tim Burton had to convince them all to do it.
Wow.
So Michael Keaton turned it down, but then it ended up being one of his favorite roles.
I guess.
Here's something that might be relevant. Tim Burton allowed a plot hole as a courtesy to the actors.
A plot hole. What's the plot hole?
We have discussed this as well. There's a plot hole in Beetlejuice in that all the other recent deceased people in the waiting room look how they did when they died.
Ah.
But despite the fact that the Maitlands died by drowning, they appear dry in another world. But we thought they'd be blue from asphyxiation.
Yeah.
I guess there's
we
a special case.
were talking about people, about them turning down the roles and whatnot. Did you know apparently Jenna Ortega turned down the role of Wednesday multiple times?
Neat.
You want to know who convinced her to do it? Tim Burton. As soon as she knew that he was part of it and wanted her to be in it, she's like, you know what? Yeah, I will work with Tim Burton.
make another Addams Family thing?
Tim Burton's Addams Family thing? Not that I know of.
They not?
As I say, I don't know.
The two Addams Family movies in the 80s weren't Tim Burton, or in the early 90s weren't Tim Burton.
Maybe not.
Maybe there was an animated Addams Family just a couple of years ago. I don't know if that's a Burton production or not.
I'm gonna go find out. So you do have your phone on you, Gabba.
Yes.
This always reminded me of Spy vs. Spy from Mad Magazine. The look that
Interesting.
Makes
Adam
sense.
goes with here.
Maybe not. I must be thinking of something else.
More so than the snake, I always feel like the gruesome looks they affect here are fairly iconic visuals from the film.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything.
According to this, he was supposed to do a stop motion animated Addams Family in 2010, but it got scrapped.
Yeah. I mentioned Dick Cavett in the Deo scene.
Mm-hmm.
According to this, he made an important suggestion for that scene because apparently they were having trouble getting the shrimp hands to work properly. So they tried using stagehands under the table, throwing the shrimp, but it wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
And Dick suggested that they place the shrimp down on their faces, shooting their fall, and then playing the film backwards in the edit.
Interesting.
And, that's not an uncommon technique for doing things, but apparently Dick helped out there. It's always good to have some Dick on the film. And apparently the final scene with Beetlejuice in the waiting room back at the recently deceased office, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
wasn't in the original script. It was added in post-production to give Beetlejuice a snappy tag to leave audiences laughing on their way out of the theater. And also, apparently, a sequel has been in developmental hell for decades.
I was just reading
What
about
would the
that
sequel
prior
even be
to
about?
facts.
More Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice 2, 19 minutes. Yeah, there you go. There he is. Snacking down. So dead folks have to eat?
No.
So he just chooses to do this?
Enjoys it? And if he's going to choose to eat, why is he choosing to eat that?
Because he's Beetlejuice.
I was going to say, his name is Beetlejuice.
Though he never eats a beetle.
Of course, we were looking at this article and talking about things. We glossed over that Lydia was writing a suicide note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, at least our second suicide reference. Actually, they suggest that I don't know if it was before this or it comes up later, that the Maitlands killed themselves.
Yeah.
The living folks, Otho or somebody does, so...
Yeah,
I think
says
there's at least
going up
3
the
for
attic.
sure.
I think we've had more than 3 suicides.
There's at least 3, I'm just saying.
Are you counting all the people in the netherworld?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, at least... Well, I'm definitely counting the receptionist, because that was very obvious. Like I say, the hanging is maybe not.
Probably.
You realize that that's a method of execution for centuries, and...
That is fact.
And yeah.
I would say more people have been hung by somebody else than have hung themselves.
Probably.
I like the big beetle there. I don't know why. The big fly bugs me, but the big... How does he just make that appear out of thin air? Like, again, the powers.
Yeah. It's not actually physically.
You can't say there's no limits, because there's definitely limits.
He's just messing
We just
with
don't know
the
what
light.
they are. That's some incredible light manipulation, I'm just saying.
Oh, he is Beetlejuice.
What does that even mean?
Means that he's good at light manipulation.
You also...
Beetlejuice is a very skilled ghost. He's been at this for a while. He is a professional bioexorcist.
Y'all's little brother thought he was the Joker when we were watching this the other day.
That was fact.
He's like the Joker thrown off the deep end.
He's
Which
Joker,
Joker
if you
already
brought
has.
it off fish.
Yeah, I'm... You're like the Joker if he didn't go off the deep end. There's a lot of teeth.
Goofy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think it's partially intended.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of the darkness in this movie is clearly just over the top. I mean, they look like Garbage Pail Kids.
So what do you think it would have looked like as a horror movie?
I don't know. I would say that I probably wouldn't have watched it, but that's probably not true. I did watch a lot of horror movies in the 80s.
Probably wouldn't have
Really?
enjoyed it as much.
I watched a lot of everything in the 80s. I didn't have the internet. I watched a lot of movies. I mean, I played outside a lot and played with my toys, and, video games were just coming into vogue, so... And I didn't have kids, so I had a lot more time to watch movies.
Yeah.
I like how Barbara Mandy goes back to a regular face, but it takes Adam like freaking 5 minutes.
This is one of the things where it's like your glasses are on your head and you don't remember they're there, Or it's like the day I left my hat on at school when we weren't allowed to wear hats in school, and I made it through like the 6th period and teacher wanted me to take it off and all this, and I was like, no, he's made it through almost the whole day, let him keep it on. And I legitimately wasn't even trying to, it's just it felt so natural on my head.
I did have
Yeah.
a hat on my head.
Yeah. Well, if you're used to doing something,
Yeah.
he seems to be struggling to get back in shape even.
He is.
Yeah.
And he's even going to have a bit of a long nose left here in a second.
But yeah, we watched part of the musical via TikTok the other day. And I pointed out in the musical, Lydia seems to like tease Beetlejuice about saying his name a lot more than she does hit.
Can I just point something out,
That's
too?
not
Have y'all
what I
noticed that
think
the
it is.
subtitles are, like, all over the place? Like, just a second ago, they were in the bottom right. See, they're, like, in the bottom right corner.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Now they're in the bottom left
maybe
corner.
it's tries to keep with the character.
Right corner.
Maybe.
Middle. But you don't see that with subtitles that often.
No, I
Or closed
only...
captioning. I'm
Yeah, I was
not
gonna
sure
say, I
what the
only
literal
really see
difference
them
is,
move
but
around
I guess in this case it's closed captioning.
if there's something important or some sort of text.
Occasionally I'll see it go from go
go
between, like, the bottom and the top, but it's almost
Yeah.
always centered.
Yeah.
And the text isn't even centered. Look, it's left justified.
Yep.
That's so odd. Back in the center, it's still left justified. Robert Goulet blessing us with his presence again.
Is it Paranormal Research Center, Insect Zoo, Thanksgiving Park, Wax Museum?
Why Thanksgiving Park? How does that fit in with
I don't know.
supernatural vibes?
Who knows?
And then
Maybe a bunch
parking.
of ghost turkeys.
Yep.
The ghosts of all the Thanksgiving turkeys.
That's all I can figure.
Oh god.
Ghosts of
Now that's a
Thanksgiving
horror
past.
movie. 1 man, 1 billion turkey ghosts.
We decided we have enough Christmas movies. It's time to make some Thanksgiving ones. Bringing in the turkeys.
Oh god, that'd be terrifying. Imagine every ghost of every Thanksgiving turkey ever
Do
coming
you know how
after.
many Thanksgiving turkeys there
A
have been?
lot.
I think even just one killer turkey for like a slasher film. It's like Child's Play, but instead of a doll, it's a turkey.
They'll just starts opening.
Yeah.
This is a comedy slasher film.
I think a lot of slasher
That's like a
films are kinda tongue in
parody.
cheek.
That's like a parody horror film.
No. I'm playing it totally straight. There's no jokes at all.
I think the best parody ones are the ones that I tell this straight.
This turkey is going to terrify people.
No, probably isn't.
Copyright Maddie Strothman Evans.
Honestly, probably isn't as ridiculous as most slasher films. Like freaking after the third Friday the 13th, it just starts to get ridiculous.
I haven't really watched any slasher films. I heard that They Slash Thumb is out now, though.
Look, she's got black and red on her hat again.
Yep.
And is Otho wearing this? No, he doesn't have a tie on.
He's wearing a red shirt.
Yes, I'm aware of that, Alex.
In a black suit.
I never noticed how much black and red there is throughout this film, though.
Yeah. A lot of it.
I mean, Beetlejuice is most famous for, like, the black and white striped suit.
Yeah. And the green hair.
But...
Candle.
And it's a red candle.
They had red candles earlier, too.
So if they did have the wedding clothes, would they have not spawned into it? Like, what with other personal arms would have happened?
I mean, they left that one room the same. They probably could have mined something. They had their wedding photo up there, apparently, still.
I don't know what would have happened, because, like, when they come in, they, like, come in their wedding clothes.
Yeah, I don't know.
If it was, like, a little toy horse, would they be the toy horse?
Guess it would have been really awkward. It was like a pair of panties or something.
Oh, God.
Bondage gear.
That's definitely R-rated Beetlejuice.
Now, you said the other day, Alex, when we watched this, you thought it was very outrageous or over the top. I'm not sure the phrasing you used.
Yeah, I don't remember what phrasing I used either. I said it was a little odd, yes.
It seemed like you indicated you thought it went further than you thought it was going.
Well, I did say this movie felt a bit lighter, more jokey than I expected.
That was not; those were not the words you used. Now, you indicated to me like you thought it pushed the envelope too far. It was, it wouldn't be further in the bounds of good taste than you expected it to.
Honestly, I thought Beetlejuice was more of an R-rated movie.
Okay.
I didn't know it was just like PG-13.
Yeah, and it's 80s PG-13.
I expected it to be darker than it is.
Yeah, 80s PG-13 is definitely much different than nowadays PG-13. In the 80s, you could do anything PG-13.
Not quite anything.
Couldn't say fuck twice.
I was gonna say
you can do anything but say fuck twice.
I mean, if Bambi, when his mom died, was like, fuck! Oh, fuck! That's a hard R right there. I know Bambi's not an 80s movie, but...
But Bambi just said fuck once.
What's the Little Mermaid is like, when she finally got her voice back, she's like, oh, fuck! I can't believe I got my fucking voice back. R. I mean, that's a really odd choice regardless, but...
You could probably show Bambi's mom getting shot like 15 times before you can have a second fuck.
Probably.
Well, it just depends on how quickly you can get back ready to go. If you got Viagra or something, you can...
So, like, show Bambi's mom's head getting, like, blown off.
This to me, when they're, like, decomposing, this is one of the darkest parts of the movie.
Yeah.
What is happening? What did Otho do? Did he actually...
He's, like, exercising. Yes.
I don't think it was accident. Was it?
Maybe he didn't realize what he was doing, but... I think Dylan's suggesting that he didn't really know what he was doing when he did it. He thought he could just call them forth. And now he just magically knows this too. He barely knew what he was doing, and it was too late.
He read the paragraph under. If you start this, it'll be too late.
I just feel like he just banned, like he just doesn't want to take responsibility. No, I can't do it. It's too late. Sorry.
Why does the handbook for the recently deceased have notes on how to exorcise ghosts?
Who knows?
So, in case you want to kill yourself again.
If the first time wasn't enough.
Look, if you're with your spouse stuck in your house for 125 years and you really get tired of them, here's how you get rid of them.
I'm exercising myself, gosh dang it. To get away from you.
Wow.
Yeah, is this the first time Bill just appears in that outfit?
Yeah.
He doesn't appear in that outfit until, like, the end.
Yeah. Feels like a lot of false advertising with this movie, honestly. And like I said, that's how I felt as a kid. That's why it's never been one of my favorite movies from the era.
Couldn't
I mean, it's a good movie.
There's a skeleton head on top of Beetlejuice's merry-go-round that's made to look like Jack Skellington.
Okay.
Which is apparently a character that Tim Burton had been working on since, like, 82.
I didn't. I knew Nightmare Before Christmas was a Tim Burton film.
According to this, it was a character he had been working on since
But I had no idea of its history.
So technically Jack Skellington...
Yeah, Beetlejuice is a solid movie. It's not great, but it's good. Yeah, there it is right there.
Yeah, that looked like him.
He really does look like Kiefer Sutherland.
How's Beetlejuice stop the exorcism, whatever?
I don't know.
Ghost magic.
Beetlejuice is a really skilled at what
The Red Hot Chili Peppers had blood, sugar, sex magic. Beetlejuice has ghost magic. Some of the little animals there on the merry-go-round of his hat look like they're from The Nightmare Before Christmas, too.
I like that one with the big mouth open. Like, ah!
They look at least the same style of things from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
So does he kill Robert Goulet and his wife here, or...?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, I could buy that they died, I could buy that they survived, but...
Definitely went through the ceiling.
And at the same time, too, what's the fallout from that? Like, you go to one of your employees' houses and you get knocked through the ceiling by a ghost?
I don't think there's laws about this yet.
I mean, it's just something that's not covered in the...
I don't think there are laws about that in general.
I think in this world there might be later on.
You know, it's just not covered in the epilogue, so I'm just, curious.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, the Deets seem to be living happily ever after, so I guess, nothing too bad happened.
Yeah.
Well, it's like they died, they just buried him in the backyard. Nobody knows. Nobody's going to come to the middle of the country in Connecticut.
It's like after this, if anyone... If either of them are like, we saw ghosts at this house, they stairs to the ceiling, anyone would be like, no,
I like the idea that Otho's terrified because he's in a tacky outfit.
It's so funny because he's no longer wearing his red and black.
That's like one of the funniest moments in the movie.
A ghost! He changed my clothes.
Hi, Pat. Teddy had to come back for the ending. She couldn't miss it.
For the climax.
Yep.
Not on me though, I guess. Like Stardew. Go on my lap, and I was like, nah. Why does Beetlejuice need to get married to leave or whatever? I don't know.
Again, it's not really covered all that well.
Once again, more red and black.
But yeah, it's going to bring him back to life, or at least allow him to leave the nether realm.
I know in the musical it brings him back to life. And then he gets stabbed.
Lady in Red. My apologies.
Wait, dude, isn't one of the lesbian codes Golden Red or something like that?
Yeah. Okay, nigga me for the lesbian codes.
Why are you asking him about that?
Because it's something I see all over TikTok.
I am very knowledgeable about lesbians.
Oh, God. Clinging.
That looks like a dinosaur.
Alive.
Looks like a Pokemon.
Pokemon! So there's like patched holes. So don't tell anyone about what happened here.
They just left him there as a tribute to that wonderful night.
Wonderful night.
I'm pretty sure there's more.
Wasn't one of the jaws falling off a second ago?
Yeah, but they're better now.
For some reason, I don't fucking know. Ah, I know who this guy is. He's a came to the wall.
Her wedding dress color was a choice based off of an old rhyme, which is, made in red, you'll wish yourself dead. Made in blue, you will always be true. Made in pearl, you'll live in a wall. Made in green, ashamed to be seen.
Okay.
That's just an interesting little fact about why she's in a red wedding outfit.
Definitely a little bit of an Elvis impression from Keaton in the role of Beetlejuice. I think that's pretty obvious. So, in how many states do you reckon it is legal to get married through ventriloquism? And why does losing his teeth stop him from talking?
That I don't know.
And how do the teeth talk without being in his mouth?
Maybe he lost the whole inside of his mouth.
Oh,
so were his vocal cords dangling down from that? Because that's where you get the sounds from.
That is true.
I mean, you can't really manipulate sounds as much without your mouth. It's like
How is the mouth talking without the vocal cords, though?
Oh, yeah.
And it was clearly just...
know.
Okay, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Adam sure took his sweet time saying it. She's at least trying to get it. I think she could have gotten a third one in there, but...
Probably.
She does a better job than Adam did. That's kind of a neat little shot.
Yeah.
With Tiny Adam.
Yeah.
I like how that car actually looks.
So.
Beetlejuice is still taking his time.
Kind of.
He's trying to find the ring.
Whenever I was trying to get him out of
To
here.
be fair, if he could just send her to Saturn, why didn't he do that to begin with?
That is
Why didn't he waste his
can't he
time with
just send her to
zippers and
Saturn?
steel plates?
I don't know. How she tamed the sandworm.
I also question how him crashing this tiny little car into Beetlejuice's foot is really enough to interrupt him.
I mean, you get a Hot Wheels slammed into
you
your
get
foot.
a little bit impacted.
She had a Hot Wheels slammed into her foot 17
I was
times.
gonna say that's not fun.
No, look at he's got like these white leather shoes on. I don't think he's going to feel it that much. They've got this fairly thick sole.
Yeah.
Look at that.
No, that's what his feet look like. And also, they exploded. So.
Yeah, Mythbuster should have tested that.
And then the sandworm.
If you drive a tiny little car with a real engine and somebody's foot, will it explode?
I don't know how she got the sandworm.
Hey, she's the sandworm whisperer.
Who knows?
And she didn't say his name a third time or anything, so couldn't he just, like, pop back up?
Oh, I guess that we killed him or something.
But if you die as a ghost, aren't you a lost soul then?
No, that's if you exercised.
But, I mean, he wasn't official, or was he actually officially back to life? Did the marriage actually finish?
I don't know.
It's all bizarre.
Either way, he goes back to the waiting room. That way he's supposed to go when you die, to the waiting room?
I don't... Well, no, because they seemed like they didn't want the Dietzes there. And you have to make an appointment to be there, apparently. I mean, you can be there
But the
without an
football team
appointment,
was there.
but there's no consistency in the afterworld, Dylan.
All I know in the musical, that's kind of a plot point, is that they were supposed to go to the Netherworld when they died, but they didn't for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the
it seems like the musical takes a little more care with outlining their world than
Yeah.
the original movie. It also sort of feels like the Maitlands here just have taken over as parents for Lydia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they couldn't, for whatever reason, they couldn't have children on their own or were having trouble, and now in their afterlife they get a new kid to raise. While her parents are still there and seem perfectly content, they're just like...
So can the other parents see them now, or are they still invisible to them?
It's not made... I would assume they could see them, because it would seem really strange if they can't, but it's not made clear one way or the other.
Can anyone see ghosts if they try hard enough?
Maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I don't think it's that most people can. It's just that most people don't. There's a line that Lydia reads from the book, something about most people are too involved in the mundane to notice extraordinary stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm poorly paraphrasing, of course.
To notice the strange unnatural. But she herself is the strange unnatural.
More iconic, the closing dance number here or the Deo number?
Deo.
They're both really good. I'd lean toward the closing one, but
The Living and the Dead.
they're both good.
What's the Living and the Dead book?
The updated one now.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that. At first I thought maybe one of them wrote it, but I guess not.
can't read the
Figured
whole
that
cover.
they just changed things and things got updated.
Maybe.
They changed parts for the Netherworld. I don't know.
So, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, it is a movie.
She's still got that hairdo.
Yeah.
And still
Somehow the
have
music's
that.
playing in the
Yeah.
waiting room. She's been waiting there a while, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That is fact.
Beetlejuice is going to have a high number, but hers must be close. Hell, the Shrunken Head dude's been there that long,
Oh
too.
god, yeah. To be fair, most people in this waiting room have probably been there a while.
Long waiting room, man. I'm sure there's more waiting rooms for death than just this one.
Big number.
Yeah.
It was what? Hundreds, thousands, millions, I think trillions? That's what it
Maybe.
got up to. I love that he thinks he's going to switch it and the other guy's not going to notice. A tiny little square of paper versus
Yeah.
this 1.5 foot long piece of paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the same.
Then Bowman's hands tossed at that.
Yeah.
I don't even. It's like gone. Oh, there it is.
Just like fell in his lap.
It wasn't even in his lap. It was beside him there. Now, okay, is that like magic ghost power that he can shrink his head with the powder, or are they suggesting he could do that in real life? I get shrunken heads are supposed to be a thing and all that, but I don't think it's magic powder that does it.
That's what Beetlejuice could have fixed that back.
Probably.
I mean, he can turn into a snake.
He seems troubled by it, though.
Then the
football players, yeah.
Very confusing.
But just an ethereal version of them. They're not even really solidly there.
I swear those two were about to kiss, though.
That's not a take I expected, but...
This is an odd movie.
And like I said, I didn't know what to expect from Beetlejuice when I first saw it. I thought it was going to be something completely different. But for what it is, it's totally fine. It's not great, but it's not terrible by any means either.
Yeah.
And like it's a very typical 80s / Tim Burton film.
I give it like a solid 7-ish.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I might...
I wasn't blown away by it.
Be more around a 6 or so, but it's, it's thumbs up at least.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd give it a Moby Dick out of 10.
Reasonable.
Alright, well, so that was our commentary for Beetlejuice. We've got some wrestling action coming up for you on the next episode as it's WrestleMania season.
Yeah.
And we hope that you'll come back then when the conversation will continue, but until then, I am and will continue to be Maddie.
Lexi.
Dylan.
And until next time, this is LexiCon concluded.
Bye.